The man calling the shots is Sinwar, and we don't know exactly where he is. I'm not sure that anybody on the outside really knows where he is. We're certainly not facilitating his communications with anyone because we have our own reasons to shut him down and ultimately catch or kill him. And he's ultimately the man making the decisions. So all the teams that are going to Qatar are basically doing it by remote control. Everything that they talk about ultimately has to be gotten to him, and then he has to give his response. So it's not like picking up the phone and calling somebody on the other side or having a Zoom conversation with them. So the idea that it may take 3, 5, 10 days from at any point sending in an offer and getting a response from him, that might even be optimistic. We're operating on a regular basis with the operation going on in Shifa. Probably doesn't involve him, but involves his cohorts. He's going to be on the move, and he's not going to make it easy for us to find him, which is going to make it more difficult for him to communicate.
Now, what are the latest sticking points in these negotiations from what we understand? We're hearing, talks that Israel is willing to agree to a 6-week truce in exchange for the release of at least 40 hostages to start with. But what else do we know?
The standing sticking point is that Sinwar insists on a permanent ceasefire and a withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, pretty much as a prerequisite to move forward. That's a non-starter from the Israeli point of view. He wants to win, and Israel wants a victory and legitimately wants a victory in this war. Giving him what he wants hands him the victory. If he doesn't back down from that, all of the rest is negotiating fine points over an issue that's not going to move forward, whether it's 600 terrorists or 800 or 1,000, and how many serving life sentences is really micro compared to the major issue of, do we give him a victory or do we go on and achieve a victory ourselves?
That, of course, brings me to the issue of what the Israeli public wants, because, at a certain point, Prime Minister Netanyahu and his government are going to have to answer for the fact that there are over 130 hostages who were taken captive on October 7th by Hamas as a result of their failings that are essentially wasting away as the days go by. I mean, how long can they really afford to say we're not going to agree to, what Hamas is offering, vice versa? I mean, both obviously have their own incentives in this, and both also need to see some movement forward in terms of a deal being made.
Let's not forget that the Shalit deal over one person took years. If we go in a hurry, they're simply going to raise the stakes. And Israel certainly has a moral obligation to bring the hostages back. And we keep repeating the number 130, but in fact, we know for a fact that the number of living hostages is lower than that, even if we don't know the exact number. We're trying to get a number from Hamas, and they refuse to come forward with a number like that. But whatever the number is, we certainly have a moral obligation to bring them home. Is it an overriding, canceling all other needs obligation? I believe not. In other words, what if Hamas said, okay, we'll release the hostages, dismantle the Zionist state, and let Hamas take over? Of course, we're not going to say yes to that. So there are lines that Israel's going to have to draw, even given the fact, and I agree with you 100%, the government and the military, the country as a whole, is responsible for the failure of the 7th. It's not culpable, that's Hamas, but responsible. It didn't, the country and its military didn't hold up its side of the, let's call it the citizenship bargain of providing security to its citizens. But that doesn't mean that the state now has to commit suicide in order to bring them back.